Here, we're known for our sense of service. It's all about finding ways to support you. Day after day, doing everything we can to be useful and providing energy in all its forms. Everywhere, every time, all across the continent.
The players ready, leaving the tunnel, led out by referee Sadou Ali Brahamou from Niger, Abubakar Ousmane Fousseni also from Niger, and Nafissatou Shitou from Benin make up the lines, men and women, for today. Fourth official, Vincentia Amedome from Togo, and don't forget we do have a video assistant refereeing, so any mistakes can be rectified. Two teams with two different reasons for that victory. And it's certainly going to be a spectacle out here on this delightful pitch, like a lawn of green here in Casablanca. And it makes for fast, attractive football. South Africa having never won the Under-17 African Cup of Nations, up against Cameroon as we attend the national anthems of both sides.
Que ce soit les seuls pour remplir les devoirs du jour. J'ai parti cette rue, tu es notre seul et vrai bonheur, notre joie et notre vie, à toi l'amour et le pardon.
National anthem of South Africa. Well,
With the correct anthems out underway, the stage very much set. The Amajimbos were electric against Egypt, scoring 4 well-worked goals, but their defense nearly let them down, and coach Vela Kumalo will want his team to replicate their attack verve, but shore up that back line against Cameroon's aerial and physical threats. As for Cameroon themselves, they've got their goalkeeper, Junior Lopez Abu, as well as the same defense that started against Burkina Faso. In fact, it's an unchanged lineup in total, with number 6 David Mbimang Yangono, who scored the opening, well, the consolation goal rather, against the Burkinabe men. A very similar looking defense and bench as well, with some exciting attacking play to come off of it, and 2 goalkeepers. A lot of players from the Cameroonian academies, in fact every single one of them coming from the local sides. It's a similar story for South Africa, and we'll see that just now. They'll be looking to Andre Emini and Frank Luma, one of the standout performers in their qualifying campaign, the number 7, knowing that he can get the goals. They were absolutely dominant on their way here to the under-17 African Cup of Nations. Cameroon absolutely demolishing the DRC, the Central African Republic, who did qualify along the way. And they'll be hoping that they can find their goal-scoring prowess once again. Alium Saidu, their coach, said that they know that this is a must-win match, and they'll be hoping that VAR doesn't have to come into it. Dorsav Ganwati, the head of this particular match, in the box. As for South Africa, that man in picture, just the one change from that opening victory over Egypt. Soletu Radebe, the SuperSport United goalkeeper, comes into the fray. Formidable midfield, with Kamogelo Mareletse and Tebogo Mlangeni anchoring in that particular slot. And then Selwyn Stevens, Emile Witboy, and Simpiwe Mlondo just behind Neo Bokloko up in attack. Bokloko, whose 2 penalties managed to salvage at least what looked to be an equalizer, until Emile Witboy came up with that delicious winner. And that means, of course, that Keabetswe Morake, the goalkeeper who started off against Egypt, he drops down to the bench, the number 20. Captained again by Bokamoso Mokokosi, Kaizer Chiefs central defender. He knows what's at stake here. South Africa, if they win, can maintain their record, but they've never won 2 consecutive matches in a group in the Under-17 African Cup of Nations. So this would be a first for them. The indomitable Lions, 2 times champions, get us underway. Starting from left to right, and a first touch already for Junior Lopez Abu. Goes out to Chris Ntamak, the 17-year-old who did receive a yellow card against Burkina Faso. In fact, 3 of their defense sitting on a yellow after that first match. Decide to go straight down the line, and this is an area they'll look to exploit Cameroon. South Africa, knowing that they may be physically outmatched by their Central African opponents. So along the ground is the route for them to get the win. Cameroon doing well to maintain possession in the early exchanges, as Singala Mbinde just passes off to David Nyangono, the goal scorer against Burkina Faso. No, Dumbongo does well, and he still manages to help maintain the overlap. South Africa clear back into the midfield space by Joel Merlin Biwol. And now Cameroon lose out into the midfield, and an early free kick won by Kamogelo Mareletse, the Mamelodi Sundowns midfielder, doing well to position his body just in front of the oncoming adversary player. It was Oscar Etundi from Academy Foot who conceded that foul. South Africa just looking to work it up the pitch, and Alium Saidu at the helm once again. South Africa just playing it along the ground, and a first participation for Soweto Radebe. Trying to work it in the small spaces in the midfield. South Africa, they get caught on it though. Goes out to the Cameroonian wing. Here's Oscar Tundi, the number 3, looking for options, has to play it back to his fullback. An early cross comes in and just stabbed out by the defense of South Africa. Up to the attack, and Majimbo's trying to retain possession, unable to there. Haven't really come to grips with the speed of the game, and it's a dangerous pass back from Tumi Mutapo. Nearly put his team in all sorts of issues there. The Orlando Pirates fullback. Had to just play it clear, but it's resulted in a Cameroonian corner. And it's going to be taken by David Bondomba. The 15-year-old looking interested over the ball. As a referee, Sadou Brahamou from Niger. Just make sure that everyone behaves themselves in the 18-yard area. Here's the corner coming out. It's an out-swinging right footer, and it should be punched away. It is, but Cameroon still have it alive in the box, and now finally it is cleared. Goes all the way back to the number 16 goalkeeper. Or the number 1 goalkeeper is a 16-year-old. Nicely played through the lines again. The Indomitable Cubs starting well. And they've earned themselves another set piece here. And set pieces will be the way of the game, no doubt, for the side in green. And that pass back really wasn't needed from Tumi Mutapo. Extremely difficult to control for Radebe, but he did well at least to just clear it anywhere will do in that kind of situation, and he's managed to do so. Possibly a chance wasted though for the Cameroonian attack. Mlondo and Stevens in the wall for South Africa, but it's unlikely that they'll be employed here. It's going to be taken by the left foot of Etundi. Etundi goes, and it's headed back for another corner kick. Mokogosi taking no prisoners with that, and Vela Kumalo, the Kaizer Chiefs reserve coach as well, just looking on somewhat impatiently with the start that his side has made. Cameroon dominating the early exchanges. Hoping that this is a sign of things to come. The Cubs, who just were unable to really impose themselves against Burkina Faso. And now the cross comes in. It's a very good looking ball. It has to be dealt with. And calls for another free kick. And it is given again by referee Brahamou. Frank Luma, or it was actually Mak Bendelek, absolutely clattered there. Just see that chance again. So Cameroon in the ascendancy. A free kick from around 25 meters out. And David Nyangono, he's already found the back of the net already this campaign, but it looks like he might leave it though for Oscar Etundi, the left footer. There's every chance though that it might just be a pile driver right down the center. And he does go straight for goal. It has to be palmed away. Radebe equal to it. Quick free kick and free throw in rather. Cameroon just first to every ball so far. The South African defense has so far failed to wake up from their late night sleep, it seems. Looking to play on the counter-attack here. Cameroon, Dumbungo does well. Back to goalkeeper Junior Lopez. And finally, Amajimbos do earn themselves a free kick. Just see that dipping shot. And Radebe absolutely equal to it. Soletu Rwandiso Radebe, almost Ronwen Williams-esque in his stature. And he's hoping to at least provide the kind of performance that the Bafana goalkeeper managed during his African Cup of Nations campaign. Cameroon, though, still with the ball in the midfield spaces, and they're finding the gaps at will. South Africa just not really getting stuck in quite yet. Mbinde passes back to Lopez, who's not shy to go long. He knows that the first ball is crucial. And Cameroon still have it, and it is called back for a free kick. Likely to be taken by the captain, Mokokosi, one of several Kaizer Chiefs Academy products for the South African side. A bit of an unorthodox challenge, but it was deemed that Bandelek did foul this man, and again the goalkeeper put under pressure. Cameroon looking for the space, trying to see if they can manufacture a shot. And Radebe has to get down again. Calm needed in the ranks of the South African defense. And completely unlike what we saw against Egypt, Mareletse and Mlangeni have hardly touched the ball. And might do so here, as long as they don't lose their composure. And the tackle from behind, and maybe a little bit of breathing space. Emil Witboy will be hoping to get more of the ball there. Radebe doing well to at least spread himself and close the angle. Free kick comes and they decide to play short, using the fullbacks here, South Africa. Mlondo looking for options, but he's being hounded off of it. Really good play by Luma. And in the end, Simpiwe Mlondo doing well to at least get something from that. The man who, well, the young boy really, a 16-year-old who scored in the first minutes against Egypt. Cameroonians hit it down, get it down onto the pitch, and really breaking at pace. They've got such good areas that they're trying to exploit here. It's all Cameroon so far. They play it all along the ground, and this might be another chance to get the ball upfield, but now South Africa can clear their lines. It comes back in, though. Still has to be dealt with as Frank Luma latches onto the ball. The number 7 looking to toy with his fullback, and he does get around him to an extent, but it's well defended in the end. It still comes into the box. Cameroon looking to turn, and somehow South Africa survive with a little toe poke through, and they might be through on the break here. Showing great pace through Witboy. Does dink it over, and that was nearly tremendous. A very neat chest down. That's brilliant control. And looking to go over the top of the South African defense now. Headed back. Cameroon just trying to get it down on the ground through Nyangono. An up and under, and some good hang time. And they still win the first ball, the Indomitable Cubs. Finally, he might settle with Biwole. Biwole goes again, trying to go over the top, but it seems like He was thinking 2 steps ahead of his attacker, was David Bondomo. Just staggered his run. Radebe, well, South Africa have survived that initial onslaught, and it remains to be seen whether they can exploit that now. They might be through here. Well, needed some trademark Cameroonian defense, but South Africa still could pick up their second balls, pick the toes of the Cameroonians. They do well to recover, and now find Oscar Tundi. Dumbogo doing well and just slips over the ball again. A foul called on Simpiwe Mlondo. The Mamelodi Sundowns winger just shoved off of it. Matapo quite lucky there that Noel Dumbogo, the academy foot player, just lost his footing. And a hand in the throat from Oscar Tundi, given as a foul. 13 minutes gone here. Alium Saidu, the current coach of Cameroon, an economist. Well, not really, no, sorry, that is the referee, but now just the ball nearly making its way to the goal. And that's a much better pressure being shown by Amajimbo's up top. Zimela keeps possession, plays it short, and that's better work by South Africa, but it just evades the midfielder. And Emini looking for his options and plays it short into the midfield again. Switching play, they go for the long-range effort. It's always rising over the bar. Taking it on his left foot, Joel Merlin Biwol. And his back was always facing to the sky, and that's why the ball rose over the bar there. Sive Pama tries to find his winger. South Africa dink it, but it's quickly taken off of their toes again. Cameroon just pressurizing in all the areas which are profitable here. Etundi goes back into the midfield shape, and this is much better work here by the Cubs than what we saw in the first match. Playing it short, making the most of their possession. That loss in the opening game has now seen them go winless in their last 4 group games at the finals. They drew their final group game back in 2019 against Senegal, 0-0. Let's remind you, Cameroon. So looking to rectify that, having then lost to Mali and Burkina Faso in the 2023 group stages. A victory here would put them right amongst the race for qualification. And they've started much brighter between the two sides. This time the channel cut out by Matapo. It was just hooked clear by South Africa's central defense, and a turn and strike does well to get down to his left, Radebe. Cameroon come again. Oh, it's off the post. A ferocious effort, and what technique it was. Counting their lucky stars here. Amajimbos. And Bella Kumalo really has to get his team alert, because Cameroon are playing magnificent football here. That foul given by Selwyn Stevens' shove on the back of Makrene Bandelek. But it would definitely be worth second viewing at that effort that just cannoned off of Radebe's upright. Taking it again here, Dumbogo. He's so physically powerful. And that pass into no man's land. the 16-year-old who's quick throw. Looks to get Cameroon off on their way again. Nyangono just pressurized into giving what we all thought might have been a goal kick, but then it does turn out that he's done well. Turn a corner, he has a look at that strike. What an effort it was. Almost Thierry Henry-esque against Manchester United all those years ago. A little flick up and a strike on the turn. Corner comes in, and it has to be well dealt with, and it is. Appeals for handball, not given though. South Africa looking to just use their speed, but Cameroon are all over them, just swarming over the South African attack. Got to be careful that the passes do reach their players here. Junior Lopez. That's brilliant work here in the fullback position. Etundi looks for his options. Comes out wide to Bondoma. Etundi again. Decides to go for the cross, and it's punched out again by Radebe. Another effort from distance. Cameroon just racking up the shots here. And it all started losing that ball in the midfield. Getting their shape all wrong, and what a stunning effort it was by Andre Mini. The ZB forward doing ever so well to get it nearly on target. Now South Africa finally work up some territory of their own. Dumbogo, who's proved such a menacing threat down this right-hand side, now being called to defend and help his team make sure that they keep their sheets clean. Little dink pass through, and South Africa looking to pressurize Junior Lopez for the first time. But he's quickly played it out, and it might just bounce quite kindly for Cameroon still. Here's Luma. Does excellently to get past the fullback again. Uses his pace, and South Africa do manage to just win it back in a crucial position. It just seems like the spaces between the defense and midfield are a bit stretched here for Amajimbos, but they do well to run it up here through Mlondo. Hasn't been able to do that for much of the match. Finally, Mlangeni gets on the ball. Matapo passes it back into the midfield. Over the top now, has to watch his line. Still has it though, Bokloko. Corner kick given. Finally, we see the Kaizer Chiefs forward in a bit of action there. We'll just see. Well, it was a very tight thing, wasn't it? And we wouldn't have been surprised had the flag gone up there against the Bokloko. And as he was about to prepare for that shot, Kristen Tamak sliding in, and a really thumping challenge has resulted in a corner kick. South Africa's first of the match. Playing it short before the ball comes in earnest, and now it does get whipped in, and it is a free header over the bar. Fantastic leap it was just initially, but it might have put off Njambulo Mzimela. Oh, excellent control in the midfield, but just unable to get it back. But they might be helped out by the South Africans here. Cameroon looking to just play it over. Radebe alert to it once again. South Africa, all previous 18 of their games have resulted in goals. They are yet to be involved in a 0-0 draw. So you can expect that there will be a ball hitting the back of the net in this one as well. Just look at this counter pressure from Cameroon's attack, closing out and suffocating the spaces for the Majimbo defense, and it's resulted in a bit of a sore one for Mareletse. just got a knee on his backside, and it seems like that's what led to him just going down. Well, that's a real giveaway of a free kick, and they have to cut those mistakes out. Zimela too casual in that pass. To Radebe now. And Mokokosi does well to find his fullback, Palmer. Cape Town City right back. Passing it through the midfield now, finally. Some sustained possession from the men in yellow and green. Selwyn Stevens might just dink it through. That's better play, Mareletse. They've weathered the storm, it seems, South Africa. Here's the 16-year-old again, Mareletse. A crucial player, providing the anchor, the base of midfield. Brilliant stuff from Witbooi. South Africa are through. Yeah, they're looking for a penalty. But it's just deemed physical and nothing more. An honest shoulder challenge on Simpiwe Mlondo. Well, we'll just see. Oh, it doesn't even look like he was touched there by Noel Dumbogo. I can't even see any contact whatsoever. And Mlondo possibly lucky to get away with a simulation. But we will wait for the decision from the referee. No, it's a play on, just as we suspected. Hasn't judged the ball well there, Motapo. And it's allowed Dumbogo to just get in ahead of his man, but the Orlando Pirates fullback managing to get a second bite at it. He's just hustled again. Owes his midfielder. And now South Africa can break in numbers. Trying a Trivela pass out wide, but doesn't come off. Needed to do something a little bit more simple there. Headed to safety by Sive Pama. And back to Radebe, who is very good with his feet, let's remind you, and just shown there by that pass. Here's Witbooi. Looks to go through the lines. It's a very decent ball as well, and ultimately well dealt with by Ntamak. And the ball comes South Africa's way again. That's better along the ground. Doing themselves a free kick. Witbooi looking to get up and running. He's extremely fast, and they take it again without the referee watching. But he lets it slide. Selwyn Stevens back to his fullback there. Well, at least his midfielder. Zimela hasn't looked altogether too comfortable on the ball so far this match, Mzimela, but manages to find his man with that particular ball. Decently picked up by Cameroon now. And a slip and a slide. Presents itself back to the South African goalkeeper. Cameroon, that loss against Burkina Faso, they had 69% of possession. So it just shows you that for all their worth and for all their dominance, they have to be careful. That's very neatly played into the midfield. Just couldn't get it through past the defender. Cameroon standing strong in the mid. And Oscar Tundi comes out with the ball. Very well controlled and looking for that overlap here. Tundi comes again, full of running, full of pace. And a little toe means South Africa emerged from danger unscathed. astonishingly, that win for South Africa against Egypt, the first time that they've actually won their opening game at the finals. They've drawn twice and lost twice. And you would have thought that that would have given them some confidence, but Fela Khumalo looking quite concerned there on the touchline. Just barking out instructions as the players take a brief drinks break. Hot conditions here in the mid-afternoon in Casablanca at this 35,000 capacity stadium. A brilliant venue at that, and we'll see it employed for many matches to come. Cameroon enjoying more possession against South Africa, as was the case against Burkina Faso, but they have to be careful, because as we saw in that match, it resulted in a loss. Although let's not forget the way that that happened. Quite outstanding goal by Asharaf Tapsoba from behind his halfway line, contributing to that goal. But look at that effort, the effort of the game so far by Andre Emini. And then a header by South Africa, and Njabula Mzimela just didn't time his jump well, and possibly distracted by his own teammate in front of him as that came through. The game is back underway through Mlondo. Cuts inside as an inverted winger. Just lashes out though. Cameroon picks it up from Emini. Does well with this hold-up play. Lays it off. Tries to bypass the fullback and does well to find Bendelek. Bendelek again. And that's better play by Sive Pama. Biwole. And it's back to Cameroon's defense. Here's Mbinde. Decides to go for the diagonal, but too much purchase on that pass. Well, the ball does come in, and it's chested, and well, that's a really calm and collected defending from the captain. And it had to be. South Africa still get it back here through Mareletse, and he's fouled. Between Mareletse and Mlangeni. That's the shape of the South African team. Still lacking a traditional defensive midfielder though. Two number 8s really asked to partner instead. And it's something that was flagged by Fela Khumalo. And he said that his side just had to trust the way that they played against Cameroon, knowing that the ball needs to be kept on the ground, unlike that, because it's exactly where the indomitable Cubs can show their pedigree. Here's Stevens. His father was a professional footballer as well in South Africa. Mzimela goes around the outside and doesn't find his fullback. Motapo just stranded. And now Cameroon look to get the shot away. He should have done better, given the chance manufactured for himself, David Mbondomba. The Oyili striker, well, attacking midfielder. Excellently controlled, and he didn't wrap his foot around it like asked. And maybe you have to give credit to Bokamoso Mokokosi, just putting off the striker, and it still comes back in. Cameroon, South Africa's defense at 6s and 7s, and the goalkeeper makes an outstanding save onto the roof of the net. It looks like the flag, though, would have called that offsides. But there's nothing that Radebe knew about it. And we'll see here. Well, it did squirm its way through to David Nyangono. Nonetheless, It did come off a South African boot as well. He was standing in an offside position, so ultimately it wouldn't have counted. But Soleto Radebe with an absolutely outstanding block nonetheless, and that can only give him confidence as we pass the half-hour mark here. 32 minutes just over played at the Larbi Zaouli Stadium. Foul again on the South African defense. A really physical side, Cameroon here. Mokokosi just wrangled to the ground. Trying to get the ball on the turf, but South Africa unable to do so, and Cameroon profiting off of it. Going along with the cross. And that time Motapo does well to just shield it behind. That goal against Burkina Faso for Cameroon, ending a run of 5 successive games in which they had failed to score at the finals. They'd gone 524 minutes without a goal until Young scored in that 75th minute against Burkina Faso. Still looking for the breakthrough here. Mokokosi plays it straight into the midfield, and it's given away, and that's well capitalized by Cameroon. Some calm defending once again by the captain. Hardly being helped there by his defensive partners, and lashes the shot. Clear once again. Mlondo has to use his body strength. Good low center of gravity by the number 11. Emil Witbooi, who's hardly had any of the ball. We know how dangerous he can be, and so does South Africa. They really wish he was on it more. That cross just played straight to the hands or the feet of Radebe. He passes out now. Pama finds Mlangeni and does well with his body positioning, also to turn the on-rushing midfielder. It's really interesting to see the way that Cameroon close out the spaces using their attackers, defending from the front. And look at that, somehow it's managed to squirm through. Tumbogo doing excellently well, pushed from the back by Emini. South Africa can break. Selwyn Stevens looking for the long ball. That's not really going to trouble the back line of the Cubs there, but it might do so if they give the ball away. Stevens back to Bohloko. Cross into the midfield there, excellently done by Mlondo. Now finding Witbooi. Witbooi, who recently made his debut for Cape Town City. The youngest ever player to do so for the Cape Town-based club. The referee has just seen one of the Cameroonian players hit the turf, hence the reason for the stoppages. It's not exactly clear what's happened to Marc-René Badelec, but he seems to be in a bit of pain there. Oh, it's actually Frank Luma, the best Stars winger. They won't want to lose him, of course. So critical in their qualification rounds. The highest goal scorer with 8 from 3 matches in the Unifac qualifiers. He's just being helped off by medical staff, and this would be a big blow to the indomitable Cubs if he does have to leave the pitch for good. Cameroon playing with 10 for now, as Junior Lopez gets the ball deep down the pitch. Working it back to defense, and again, the pressure nearly paying. South Africa look to go to the wings this time. They are a team full of pace. none faster than Neo Bokloko. Junior Lopez out to his centre-back, Singala Mbinde. Does well to lay it off short. Here's Dumbogo. Dumbogo again collects it, passes off to his winger. It's excellent play by the fullback. Bondoma, no, able to switch play. It's a bit of a slippery surface, and look how well they're doing here. Dumbogo, the number 12, driving forward in unfamiliar territory. Appeals for a handball from the crowd mostly. Cameroon still have it though, riding the challenge, and the referee waves play on. Headed back into the mids, and finally South Africa trying the long option again. Well, they're being sucked into the game plan of Cameroon, hardly playing the way that Vela Kumalo had anticipated. And a substitute being readied here, and a really sad one for Cameroon themselves. It is going to be Arnold Masoko who comes onto the field, forward from Best Talent, and he replaces Frank Luma, who will be desperately unhappy at having to leave the pitch. One of the Indomitable Cubs' best options at breaking the deadlock. And Arnaud Masokon, who was a substitute against Burkina Faso, comes on for his second appearance, the 15-year-old, on this final. Not quite clear exactly what happened to Frank Luma. At least he's on the bench, and doesn't seem to be in too much pain as things stand. Neo Bokloko also has to shake off a niggle here. Just seemed to get his toe stood on there. Young Kaizer Chiefs forward. His 2 penalties against Egypt. His only 2 shots of the game in that particular encounter. But they proved so vital. Now Mlondo. South Africa will hope that with Cameroon's number 7 now off the pitch, they can at least enjoy it without too many worries. Like giving the ball away in such a good position. Here's Cameroon. It's 4-on-2 here. They should open the scoring, but for the brilliance of the goalkeeper once again. Soleto Radebe is on fire and showing what a big miss he was against Egypt. But his defense can't carry on being bailed out by their goalkeeper. Spreading himself. And an absolute masterful display there. The trouble's not over yet, but he makes the difficult look simple there, Radebe. The ball just sticking to Cameroonian feet here. And it's a wave play on by the referee. Finally, South Africa looking to create a bit of space themselves, and they do earn a free kick. Still 0-0 here. And it's any guess as to how, because Cameroon have been absolutely dominant, roaring their way past Amajimbos, the young warriors. And but for some seriously quality goalkeeping, they should be ahead. And the spaces between the midfield and the defense for South Africa still proving quite big here. That was well taken though by Motapo. Runs it through. This is an opportunity for South Africa. It deflects off of the back of one of their own players. Amini. Now Cameroon have it. And An outstretched leg by Mlangeni does little to stem the tide. Lopez out wide to Mbinde. Cameroon, who seem to be playing with 3 at the back right now. That's how high up the pitch Dumbongo is placed. Mareletse doesn't know where the ball's gone. It's gone to a Cameroonian foot. And Mzimela calls for the foul and receives it. That's a better defense from the number 4. A bit of a simulation here. And Adre Emini just called back by Sadou Ali Brahimou, the Nigerian referee, who is communicating in a familiar French. Going to be taken by the 17-year-old Tumi Motapo. Goes with his left boot, and will need better quality from that kind of delivery. Dumbongo. He is making runs left, right, and centre. Dumbongo. A bit of a nothing pass, and it allows South Africa to just get a bit of respite, but Cameroon swarming all over them once again. Just picking them apart, this time going around the outside. Cutting in. And looking for a long-range shot again. That time taken by Joël Melon Biwol, the central defensive midfielder. Now that's better work there by Bokloko, who's been starved of possession so far. Nearing the end of the first half. Just 30 seconds left of normal time. It's Cameroon with all the efforts. Great tackle comes in the midfield, but it still presents itself to Nyangono. Decides to play it short. Nyangono receives it again. Great stuff from the number 6, and it's a wicked-looking delivery. Almost theatrically hits the turf there, Mareletse. But he did what needed to be done to shield the ball. 2 minutes of added time here at the end of the first half. A few efforts from Cameroon, and the injury to Frank Luma, really the only stoppages of the first half. Beyond that, it's been a pretty clean game. South Africa look to make inroads again. Mlondo does well. Nice little chip ball. South Africa might find themselves in here. It's deflected and it's gone for a corner kick. Well, it appeared so. And Selwyn Stevens' ambitious effort, deflecting right at a crucial moment off of his own player. A bit of tricks here from the experienced goalkeeper. And he'll be asked to receive it again. Decides to go first time. Driving through the mids, and another free kick here for Cameroon. Just bypassing the South African midfield, and needed to do more with that, Emini. little flick ball over the top, and South Africa collected right where they wanted. Well, you thought so, but that is the end of the first half. It says 0-0 on the score sheet, but that doesn't half tell the full story of this first 45. Cameroon with shot after shot after shot. South Africa can count on maybe 2 fingers the amount of chances that they've had. It's been a far cry from that match against Egypt for Amajimbos. For Cameroon, the perfect response after that loss to Burkina Faso. Here at the Labi Zaouli Stadium, Cameroon will definitely be the happier of the 2 teams going into the break. Fela Kumalo with a resounding half-time talk to his side, knowing that a victory would not only take them through, but qualify them for the World Cup. But Aliou Msaidu and his side are proving to be a serious thorn, and chests puffed out, going into the changing rooms, much the happier of the 2. We'll see the statistics right now. No goals, which would be a first for South Africa in this tournament. They're yet to participate in a game without any goals. But they've conceded at least 2 goals in each of their last 5 games at the finals. 15 of those goals conceded in the games, while scoring just 9, and they'll be happy at least to keep their clean sheet. Cameroon absolutely dominant in all aspects, and possibly just the one area of their game letting them down is the amount of fouls committed, most of those in the midfield. But it's just allowed South Africa a little chance to regather themselves every single time that they lose possession. It finishes here 0-0 in the first half, and we'll be back for more at the Labi Zaouli Stadium here in Casablanca. The 2 teams lining up here for Group B. Cameroon against South Africa. Cameroon off the back of that 2-1 loss against Burkina Faso, and South Africa having won 4-3 against Egypt. With the national anthems completed, Captain Bokamoso Mokokosi and his side up against Junior Lopez Abu. That back pass and an early sign of trouble. Tumi Motapo complacent, and a long-range strike, well saved by Soleto Radebe. Nyangono trying to add to his goal against Burkina Faso. Cameroon came in again, and again it was the goalkeeper who just smothered that shot. Radebe always alert to it, even when the ball was going over, and then the lashed effort against the upright. Beautifully taken by Andre Emini. On the turn with his left, and what a goal that would have been. South Africa did produce a chance midway through as Njabula Mzimela headed over the centre-back, just unable to get over the ball. And with the turn and the strike, they really should have opened the scoring. David Bondoma put off that effort by Mokokosi. And once again, Radebe showing his quality in goal. Cameroon trying all their might to just penetrate the goal, and Emini unable to do so. It finished the half 0-0. Everything to play for in the second 45 between these 2 sides. players coming back out onto the pitch here at the Larbi Zawuli. 0-0 after 45 minutes, in which Cameroon, it was really just a story of the indomitable Cubs up against South Africa's goalkeeper, Soletu Radebe. Dominant in all aspects, all facets of the game. And an entirely new approach required by Vela Khumalo and his side, having been outfought, outmuscled, and outmaneuvered in every aspect. Also sucked into Cameroon's game style. And that perhaps will be the most pressing issue for Khumalo to rectify. Cameroon already forced into that change, which saw Frank Luma, one of their main attacking threats, injured and forced onto the sidelines, replaced by Arnold Masokong. And that perhaps the most worrying thing for them, that they were unable to score when Luma was on the pitch. We will see if South Africa can capitalize on that. Amajimbos get the second half underway, playing from left to right, and it starts with the captain, Bokamoso Mokokosi. Zimela passing now to Motapo, who was put under a whole heap of pressure in that first 45, similar to what we saw against Egypt. Foul there. Well, we thought it might be on Zimela. One of the only South African players who can really compete on the same physical level as the Cameroonian counterparts. The Cubs playing right back to Junior Lopez Abu. Drives it downfield. It looked like a neat turn there by Tundi, but in fact it was done illegally. And he's going to be the first yellow card of the match. Etundi, who was substituted against Burkina Faso. And he went in with his studs there, and that's quite a painful one on Mzimela. Boy who plays with 3 on his back, but traditionally as a right wing. That's stoic, the site of Vela Khumalo. Just worrying about the immediate prospects of his centre-back. Alium Saidu at the helm for a while here for Cameroon, looking to draw on his international experience as a player. It seems like everything is in order, just waiting for the medical staff to get off the field, and then we'll be back underway. Of course, a draw at this stage would leave Group B very evenly poised indeed, all depending on what happens later between Egypt and Burkina Faso. Difficult to say which team will be coming out of that the happier of the two. South Africa, let's remind you, have never won 2 consecutive group games at an African Cup of Nations under-17 championships. A thumping diagonal, and nearly did well to find Neo Bokloko. Was in fact Tebogo Mlangeni who had made that darting run. And straight back into the midfield, a long-range strike. And a first attempt by Masokong since coming onto the field. There's been a few of those efforts by Cameroon, focusing more on the power of the strike than on the accuracy. Vitboy, finally we see him in action. in the second half, and it's forced Cameroon into conceding a throw-in. Starting off on Witbooi, an area of his game that maybe he'll look to improve is his physical strength. And look at this driving run again by Etundi. He's just done a little bit too much in the end. It's picked off his feet by Selwyn Stevens, given there to Marelezi. And Marelezi earns a free kick. Majimbos will hope to impose themselves a little bit more in the midfield against a Cub side which was absolutely perfectly drilled in that first 45 bar for their finishing. Chested down, well controlled there by Christian Tamak. Now he's calling for the foul, but against players who look almost half his size. Selwyn Stevens out to Emile Witbooi. Witbooi, finally a little bit of creativity being shown here. And the flag does go up. Although Cameroon complaining that they had the advantage and it could have been played on. Tamak, and we just see there the offsides as it ricocheted off the heel of Neo Bokloko. Again, very well picked up in the mids. Cameroon taking it close to the byline here. Bandelek up against Steve Pama. The South African does very well to get his side a throw in. Teammates with Emile Witbooi at Cape Town City. One of the flourishing youth academies in South Africa. Abulele Leketla also amongst those on the bench. It's a real power challenge there by David Bondoma. Frustration that you could hear. Quite a stop-start half in the second period. We'd like to see a little bit more flowing movement. Comes to Radebe. Yet to make a save though, and he'll want to keep it this way. Space opens up a little bit more. And it comes off the referee, and he has to stop play. Sadou Brahamo just getting in the way of that and joining in with the match. It will be a drop ball though. Both teams participating in this next passage. South Africa, something has to give here. Just for some statistics and analysis, they've never won 2 consecutive group games, but they've never lost their second group game either, and they've never participated in a game without goals. So with all that being said, a 1-1 draw would probably be the most likely outcome. That being said, there are so many minutes left to play, and anything can happen. Cameroon pick it up here in the right-wing position there by David Nyangono. Needing to go through the lines this time, but that's well tackled. Now South Africa can respond in kind. No options though, and the midfield of the Cubs doing very well to cut it out, forcing the South Africans to misjudge their own passing, which is really one of their strengths and not something that we're accustomed to seeing. Well, this might fall kindly though. Emile Witbooi is ahead of his striker, ahead as the striker. He still has it though. that late challenge there. Well, we thought that he might have at least timed his run accurately. The 16-year-old, an incredibly exciting talent who plays between the lines extremely well, links up the play. You just see that hopeful long ball, and despite connecting with the duel, if he had actually forced the goalkeeper into a save or scored for South Africa, it would have been pulled back. Well done by Masokombe, also another real physical presence. Didn't look like he kept it in at first sighting, but Cameroon still have the ball, and it's just stabbed back to the goalkeeper, Radebe. Now it is given, it seems, as a throw-in. Star of the match performance so far from the lanky Supersport goalkeeper. The exciting prospect once he fills out his frame. Going into the midfield, that's a good touch there to Selwyn Stevens. It's much better retention by Kamogelo Mareletse. Something that they missed throughout that first half. Decides to play the channel this time. Selwyn Stevens goes for a long diagonal. It's a raking, delicious pass there. Now using the pace to go around the outside. Cameroon's defense have to be alert here. And it still might drop for South Africa. Dumbungo manages to clear. And now the Cubs can break themselves. Well, this space is opening up. The game stretching. Andre Emini, he goes across, and that's simple enough though for Radebe to deal with. A much calmer second half as things have proceeded. Cameroon just trying to eat up some space ahead of them. Tundi plays it back, and that's given away. Here's Witbooi. Witbooi looking for that pass. Well, you can see what he was trying to do. He should have played it shorter instead, though, because now Etundi can capitalize of that. Tries to go around the outside of the fullback, and it looked like he managed to do that, and it should be a free kick for Sive Pama, who's been absolutely outdone there by the number 3. A poor tackle from the number 18. And almost a professional tackle, if you can say that, as it goes into the book. Sive Pama becoming South Africa's first booking of this match, having fouled the other booking of the match, Oscar Etundi, Cameroon's number 3. But it has resulted in a free kick for the indomitable Cubs. It's going to be Etundi Eyen, who looks like he's going to be taking with his left boot. But it will be swinging out, and maybe that will favor the defense of South Africa. We shall see, but the physicality of these set pieces has been the undoing of many of Cameroon's opposition. So what can they manufacture from this? So many tall young boys in that box. The likes of Andre Emini and Noel Dumbogo, very interested. But it's a very poor free kick at that, and it doesn't even break past the first line. Still might come back though. And a foul there, nudged into the back of Mokokosi. Rolling ball, so it will be taken again. And at least 4 players stationed in an offside position as that pass was directed back into the box. Radebe now has to be careful not to dwell too long on that, because it's given away. Cameroon can now overlap. Tundi, well, that was a bit too casual from him. He didn't look up to see that he was offsides. Thumping launched ball. Tries to find the strikers, but Neo Bokloko has been picking off slim morsels throughout the match. Hardly seen anything of the Kaizer Chiefs attacker. Very well played though by Mini. Another foul called on the South Africans there. Tumi Motapo, number 5. Now Vidboy looks for options, but there's no one making that run that he wants, and it's resulted in more pressure on the South African defense. Sive Pama, who is on a yellow card, can't defend any further. Into the midfield, picked up by Tebogo Mlangeni. It's just brilliant pressure shown by Cameroon to steal the ball back at any opportunity. Working it through Bandelek. Bandelek still skips inside and goes for goal. Has to be tipped over. Radebe not taking any chances with that one. And you can see a bit of the swerve on that. Perhaps saved by the fact that it was more of a chip than a strike. Choosing rather to palm it behind instead of just gathering and clutching the ball, but it still presents a corner opportunity for Cameroon, but straight at the goalkeeper once again. Over 60 minutes now on the clock, just the half hour left of this Group B second match. Forward for South Africa, who's shown any kind of impetus with the instep presents itself back to Cameroon. They go across the line and it has to be well dealt with by Pama, and it is. We might see some substitutions here. Whole host of them for South Africa. Jabulu Zimela is the first one to make way. Centre back on for another defender from Mamelodi Sundowns, Liam Martinez. Opametse Sekhoto, forward from Mamelodi Sundowns, also onto the field, having come on against Egypt as a substitute. And Selwyn Stevens, it's been a really ineffective game from him. And then Gaugelo Monanyane, another Mamelodi Sundowns player, onto the pitch and looking to affect things, and he has to be wary here. Rabede. A foul luckily called for Radebe as he was reaching up to that. Kicked out of his hands, it was said by the referee. So a triples change from South Africa. What kind of effect can it have? Vidboy looks to bypass the one defender. again, might be kept in play. And does well. A good touch there by Sekhoto. Cameroon still with the same amount of possession that they ended the first half with. Ompemetse Sekhoto, the youngest player in the South African lineup at 15 years old. Currently now on the right wing. Turned by Mareletse. He receives it back again off that pass. Has to watch for the offsides, but there's no one there to support Pama, who found himself quite high up the pitch. Now It's cut out by South Africa. And this is how they aim to exploit that. And once again, can't cope with the physicality of their Central African opponents. That time, Esingala Mbinde completely outgassing his attacking opponent. Just down, and Mareletse thought he might be able to win that back, but it's taken by Nyangono. The header goes to Tumi Motapo. Another substitution, this time for South Africa. It is going to be Simpiwe Mlondo, who's worked tirelessly, but he's being replaced by Oacheng Lebesani from the Virginia Sports Academy. His first appearance of this African Cup of Nations. Oacheng given Lebesani, a 16-year-old forward who's hoping to again be the spark that drives South Africa over the line. A little back pass, which is quite tough, but the goalkeeper manages to do well. Just hoofed into clearance there before a little toe poke gives it back into the midfield. But South Africa working relentlessly to win the ball back. There's Mareletse as well to open up the space for himself. Mlangeni has been much more on the periphery of this match. Cameroon working those quick passes quite well, and now the space does open up for these shots. But Bendelak, maybe he's not quite used to being the last man for that, and Martinez can get it clear. And absolutely no one taking on that pass by Noel Dumbogo. Andre Mini coming closest in the match so far with that turn and strike off the post. The boys' pass cut out. David Bondoma, the Oyili FC attacking midfielder. Somehow they still have it. Here's Makane Bandelek. Anywhere will do for South Africa. Just can't seem to get the ball to stick in possession. It hasn't cost them yet, but could it now with this next attack? Martinez doing very well physically. Emini receives it now. Nyangono goes out to his left wing. A first touch here from Mbumbo. They have to be wary here, South Africa, and somehow there is no danger left there. A raking throw. And Sekhoto allowing that ball to go in for a throw-in here near the halfway line. Just under 10 minutes of normal time remaining in this Group B fixture. South Africa would be on 4 points, Cameroon on 1, with just 1 game to go, as Cameroon would face Egypt in an all-wins must match. And South Africa would be up against Burkina Faso. Depending on that result, really will set up a highly entertaining final fixture day. Vidboy cuts inside. Vidboy, oh, and a crucial interception there. Now Nyangono. Cameroon trying the patient build-up. Here is the approach. Dumbongo working with Bondoma. Now they might just be in here, Cameroon. Martinez has to do well. And that's excellent work by the substitute central defender. It's been a bit more tired from Cameroon in the second half, not really testing their South African opposition as well as they did. Nonetheless, they still have far more shots in the Amajimbos and can consider themselves quite unfortunate to not be ahead here. The pass trying to penetrate the lines and turning his defender expertly, Andre Mini. Mbumbu is back into the midfield. Here's Noel Dumbongo, resorting to those efforts from range. Seems to have clattered into Liam Martinez here, feeling the full effects of that shot. A bit of a painful one, the Mamelodi Sundowns graduate. That's what he's there for, as much as that may hurt. They do still have other defenders there on the bench. Hayden Boyson, Abulele Dleketla, and Lebogang Swane. So they're not short of those defensive options, but it's goals that they're missing right now, South Africa. Just the one free kick which sailed over the bar by Emil Witbooi. The only effort by South Africa worth noting in the second half. And you have to wonder if they will take this result as things stand. They are, of course, up against two-time champions Cameroon. Maybe now things might change. Here's Sekhoto. Lays it across. Here's Monanyane. Mariletse goes down the line. It's taken away from Sekhoto, and now Cameroon can break. Does very well though to track back there. Monanyane. Mbumbu. The step overs, and is quite successful here, the number 21. But Pame does well. And that's much better, using those triangles and the interplay by the fullback and the midfielder. South Africa still have it. They really need to make the most of this here. Witbooi goes around the outside. Surely should be in here, South Africa. And hooved into touch by Cameroon's defense. Well, that's about as close as they came. The Amajimbos. It was Arnaud Macasson who came to the rescue there. Mbumbu now into midfield. Suddenly the pace of the game is just being turned up a notch here. 5 minutes to go, unless something miraculous happens. And Martinez just helps it out for a corner kick. Cameroon, their strengths lie in their set plays. They haven't had many to enjoy in the second half as South Africa makes their final substitution. Joshua Taylor coming on, another Cape Town City player, for his club teammate Emil Witbooi, who will be saved for that match against Burkina Faso. 16-year-old midfielder. His first task is to help defend this corner kick. comes in from the indomitable Cubs and thumping header out. Martinez is the furthest man forward. And that's really a wasted pass. It may seem at first. It might come all the way back to Junior Lopez. And it's a well charged down at least. Allows South Africa to come back in here. No offsides. At least for then. And finally the flag does go up. Well, this would be South Africa's first 0-0 in an African Cup of Nations game in the Under-17 tournament. Cameroon winless in their last 6 games at the finals in open play. And it looks like that will continue as well into a 7th as this ball gets launched long. Indomitable Cubs. Can they recover here? Another long ball goes searching for the South African attack, and they might just keep this in. It is kept alive. Back to the fullback. His numbers, Mareletse. Once again, the flag comes to the rescue of the Lions, but of the Cubs rather. They'll want more than this. And it is a game which is surprising more also for South Africa's ability to keep a clean sheet. They have Soleto Radebe to thank for that. Martinez and Joshua Taylor nearly getting in each other's way. Another raking diagonal, and it's brilliantly controlled, it seemed at first. Leading now to a throw-in. Sekhoto goes into the midfield. Mareletse, a chip pass. And well, unorthodox defending, but it had to be done there. Leopold Longa now occupying that central defensive position. And Kaogelo Monanyane was lurking for the finish. Well, South Africa have a corner here as the normal time gets used up. 5 seconds left. And it's well handled there by Junior Lopez, looking to get his strike force straight down the field again. Decent touch, and that's what we've come accustomed to by the South Africans. The quick interplay, those one-touch passes. Using this left-hand channel now. Going back into the midfield. Playing across now. Mlangani. Tebogo Mlangeni pressured off of it. Hasn't really imposed himself on that midfield battle there, Mlangeni. Somehow the ball finds itself all the way to Longa out on the right-hand side. Cameroon decide to go long, and it's headed back by Mokokosi. Picked up by Nyangono. Around the outside now. Dumbogo beats his fullback. It's a brilliant chip pass. Had to be defended there by Motapo. And again, before Taylor manages to get it further up the pitch. And a free kick here for South Africa. And in all of that, there are 5 minutes of additional time. Players just clattering into each other from all angles. As Joshua Taylor came flying in for that and was lucky to win the ball. Kokosi tries to go long, but they're never going to win that aerial battle there. Cameroon turn and decide to take it upon themselves to make up that territory. A very decent pirouette there. They still have it. His shirt's being tugged. Bendelek does brilliantly to release Mbumbo. Goes around to the outside of the box. Cameroon still have it and turn and shoot, and it all ends up being nothing more than a shot wasted. David Bondoma, that final effort, and with just over 2 minutes left of the game, you do wonder if that was the chance that could have sealed it. South Africa having conceded at least 2 goals in each of their last 5 games at the finals. Well, that run is set to end right now. But Cameroon are the ones doing all the attacking as the game just stretches out into its dusk. Tumi Motapo goes long, and it's going to be picked up by Christian Tamak. Somewhat of a miscued clearance, but it still manages to fall its way to the Cameroonian players. Here's Abdul Mbumbo, using his pace, going at the South African defense. Mbumbo! And it is a corner kick. He slams the ground in frustration. The 15-year-old was so penetrative in his run. And this is bound to be the very final chance of the game. So here, the corner kick for Cameroon. So much anticipation with this last set piece. The ball gets delivered in, and Radebe, as he has done all match, out to save his team, and he gets a free kick. And you do imagine that will be that after Cameroon were unable to make that count for anything. Palmed it out and did brilliantly, the SuperSport United goalkeeper. This is a bit of a worry, the way that he's landed on his ankle. The game is called, though. There won't be any more issues to deal with. It finishes 0-0. And for all the fight, all the effort from the indomitable Cubs, they couldn't break down the Amajimbos of South Africa. It means that the team in yellow, the South Africans, finish on top of the group with 4 points going into match day 3 against Burkina Faso. Cameroon now just with the solitary point above Egypt in 4th. South Africa first, Burkina Faso in 2nd, Cameroon in 3rd, Egypt in 4th on no points ahead of their match against Burkina Faso. Cameroon will have to play the Egyptians for any chance of qualifying for the next round, and they will have to beat them. It's South Africa's first ever goalless appearance at the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. Cameroon now winless for the 7th game in a row in the finals. A game bereft of many clear-cut chances, but for Andre Amini striking the post in the first half. So Leto Radebe, though, very much South Africa's hero, as David Mimbang Nyangono is crowned man of the match. Unable to score this time out.
30 seconden,
would have wished that he had traded his goal against Burkina Faso for one in this match to score a winner. Nonetheless, a better performance from the indomitable Cubs than what we saw in the first game. And South Africa, well, they seem to have gone a little bit backwards after that showing against Egypt, following a 7-goal thriller with a 0-0 damp squib of a draw. Nonetheless,
Test, c'est bon.
they've got every chance of progressing.
Bonjour. Quel sentiment de remporter ce trophée?
Je suis d'abord très fier car c'est un travail collectif. Nous sommes venus pour prendre les 3 points. Bon, on n'a pas eu les 3 points. Nous pensons que nous allons revenir plus fort le prochain match. Donc je suis très content d'être sorti meilleur joueur du match.
Un message pour le supporter, pour la famille aussi, pour les supporters qui sont présents là.
Je voulais d'abord remercier ma famille, mes supporters, ceux qui m'encouragent et c'est une motivation pour moi de me donner à fond chaque jour.
Merci. Reste là comme ça.
A game which very much favoured the Cameroonians right from the start to the finish. 22 shots to 3, 8 shots on goals to 2. South Africa really a shadow of the side that managed to put 4 past Egypt in the opening encounter. Cameroon, though, will be very much ruining those opportunities missed. 35 fouls committed to 6, so discipline very much a thorn in the side of the indomitable Cubs. South Africa, well, they'll just be glad rather to come out of this game unscathed, and owing much to the brilliance of Soweto Radebe back into the side, having missed out the first game against Egypt through suspension. 0-0 it finishes here at the Larbi Zawuli Stadium, and we'll see how that affects Group B going into the final set of fixtures. Just that match between Egypt and Burkina Faso to come. Egypt currently rooted to the bottom of the group, but having played 1 game. Cameroon just with 1 point. And 2 games. South Africa head the group after this match with 4 points in that match against Burkina Faso to come. Burkina Faso up against Egypt is certainly going to be a mouth-watering clash. We'll have all the results for you as soon as they come here.
Here, we're known for our sense of service. It's all about finding ways to support you. Day after day, doing everything we can to be useful and providing energy in all its forms. Everywhere, every time, all across the continent.
A game which promised so much right at the start. And Cameroon took on South Africa, trying to get their campaign back underway. Terrible back pass there by Tumi Mutapo.